This episode is provided by Thomas Allgaier and Frennis, based on the most relevant LinkedIn posts about field marketing from calendar weeks 8 and 9. Frennis is a B2B market research company helping enterprise field marketing teams with precise target list research and database-driven segmentation, as well as event attendee acquisition.
Awesome.
Yeah, so welcome to our deep dive into the top field marketing trends we've seen dominating the conversation across LinkedIn over the past 2 weeks.
And if you are in B2B marketing right now, you probably already know that the landscape is, well, it's basically shifting under our feet.
It really is. I mean, the overriding narrative we're seeing from calendar weeks 8 and 9 is that field marketing is rapidly moving from what you might call a pure activity engine to a highly strategic revenue lever.
Exactly. There is absolutely no room for fluff anymore. It's the era of just setting up a booth, handing out some branded pens, and just kind of hoping for the best. That's completely over.
Long gone.
It's all about operational leverage now and intense commercial accountability.
So true. And we are going to unpack exactly what that looks like on the ground for you today.
We've actually clustered the most crucial insights from top voices in the industry into 4 core themes.
Right. So first, we'll look at event tech modernization and how lead capture is evolving.
Second, we're going to examine how lean teams are using AI as an operational multiplier.
Which is wild stuff. Third, we are talking about the critical shift from event metrics to hard revenue metrics.
And finally, we'll explore why curated, highly intentional experiences are completely replacing the volume-based events of the past.
So let's jump right into this first theme, event tech modernization.
This is a fascinating area right now because, honestly, the patience for friction has just dropped to 0.
Yeah.
In the past, you might accept that scanning badges was a bit clunky, or that it would take a few days to manually upload a spreadsheet of leads into your CRM.
The dreaded post-show spreadsheet.
Exactly. Today, manual badge scanning and delayed CRM syncs are viewed as entirely unacceptable bottlenecks for pipeline velocity.
Totally unacceptable.
If you are waiting until Monday to upload your leads from a Thursday event, you've already lost the deal.
That brings us perfectly to a concept highlighted on LinkedIn by Jason Alco. He talked about the rise of the event engineer.
I really love that term.
Me too.
Yeah.
Because we aren't just talking about event planners anymore, right? Event engineers apply rigorous product and systems thinking to their events.
They're looking at the whole architecture.
Exactly, the entire data architecture, ensuring that there is a totally clean, uninterrupted flow of lead data with instant automations that trigger the actual second a badge is scanned.
And the true test of an event engineer and the technology they rely on really is what happens when things inevitably go sideways.
Because they always do.
They always do. Peter Dalton shared brilliant insight about this. He pointed out that your tech stack's value isn't proven when everything is perfect, it's proven in a crisis.
Oh, absolutely.
He shared this anecdote about a customer who showed up to an event and their physical badge printers just simply didn't arrive on time.
Oh, man. That is the classic field marketing panic attack right there.
Right.
Your whole lead capture strategy relies on scanning a QR code on a piece of plastic, and the plastic isn't there.
It's a nightmare. But instead of halting their operations or panicking and grabbing, legal pads to write down email addresses.
Which people still do.
They do. But this team pivoted immediately. Because they had properly engineered their systems, they used a software tool called Tendro to capture leads directly from real organic conversations on the fly.
Just bypassing the hardware entirely.
Entirely bypassing the need for physical hardware. The insight for you here is critical. Your pipeline generation simply cannot depend on a shipping company successfully delivering a docks of equipment to a convention center.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because it's not just about back-end data routing, it's about the front-end attendee experience.
Yeah.
Zadia Spencer had a great post challenging how we actually think about booth tech. She basically said that if you are still setting up a printed roll-up banner and putting out a bowl of mints, you are entirely invisible to modern buyers.
She is absolutely right. Buyers are overwhelmed and highly selective today.
Yeah, so she is pushing teams to completely rethink the physical footprint. She advocates for replacing those static banners with LED walls that act as dynamic digital billboards.
Oh, that's smart.
Right. They change messaging based on the time of day or the specific audience in the hall.
That is next level.
And even better, she champions the use of touchscreen kiosks. She called them the introvert's best friend.
The introvert's best friend. That is such an accurate way to frame it.
It really is. It allows for self-guided exploration. A potential buyer can walk up, interact with your product, answer their own questions, and engage with your brand on their terms.
Without feeling the pressure of a sales rep immediately pouncing on them.
Exactly. Plus, it results in zero paper waste.
Now, if we connect this to the bigger picture of how enterprise teams actually procure this technology, Andrew Layton shared a really sharp point.
What did he say?
He said, if you are in the market for event tech, vendors need to be giving you full sandbox access.
Oh, not just the glossy demos.
Exactly. Not just those highly polished, perfectly scripted staging environment demos where nothing ever goes wrong. You need to get your hands dirty in the software to see how it actually behaves.
Makes total sense.
He noted that buyers aren't afraid of testing software. Vendors are afraid of letting them test it because the cracks show.
That is so true. And we really have to balance all this tech talk with a necessary reality check from John Dodd.
Oh yeah, his post was great.
It was a wake-up call. He pointed out that most event tech problems aren't actually tech problems at all.
Right.
They are decision problems. They are caused by unclear business objectives. If your underlying strategy is fuzzy, plugging a high-powered software tool into it isn't going to fix anything.
It just scales the mess.
Tech simply amplifies the chaos if you don't know exactly what you're trying to achieve.
Which is actually the perfect bridge to our second theme, AI as the operational multiplier.
Let's get into it.
Because if you do have a clear strategy, technology, specifically artificial intelligence, is allowing incredibly lean teams to execute massive global strategies.
The ambition across the industry right now is all about scale through automation, not by simply adding more headcount.
This is where I was completely blown away by a post from Livia Hahn. She shared the mechanics of how she runs a massive event program with essentially a 1.5-person team.
A 1.5-person team? That's crazy.
And she generated $1.8 million in pipeline.
You hear that and think, how is that physically possible without burning out entirely?
It's possible through an aggressively automated tech stack. She isn't just using AI to write a few catchy subject lines.
Right.
She uses Claude as an actual strategic partner, deeply connected into HubSpot. She ruthlessly automates the heavy lifting of operations.
What kind of operations?
We are talking about using AI for deep attendee research, cross-referencing lists, and even venue sourcing.
Wow. Venue sourcing via AI.
Yeah. By offloading the operational grind to AI, she frees up her limited human bandwidth to focus purely on the one thing AI can't do, the actual guest experience and the high-touch human elements of the event.
It's treating AI as a capable coworker rather than just a tool.
Exactly.
And speaking of removing operational grind, imagine the friction of just getting your target accounts to actually register and attend your event in the first place.
Oh, it's a huge hurdle.
Jonathan Kazarian shared one of the most brilliant AI use cases I've seen recently. He addressed the classic need approval to attend problem.
Right. Usually that's a static, generic PDF template that a prospect has to download, fill in the blanks, and email to their boss. It's high friction.
Nobody wants to do that.
Nobody.
So Kazarian replaces that PDF with a dynamic button on the event registration website. One click opens a ChatGPT prompt that instantly generates a highly personalized justification letter for the attendee's boss.
That is so smart.
But it doesn't just say, please let me go to this fun conference. It ties the event directly to pipeline goals, specific educational outcomes, and expected ROI for their specific role.
It completely removes that first massive point of friction in the registration process.
It makes the attendee look incredibly strategic to their boss, all with one click.
That's phenomenal front-end automation. But we also have to ask, what happens 30 days after your event?
That's the follow-up black hole.
Yes. This is where Manpreet Waddan's insight is so crucial. The event happens, the adrenaline is high, but if the pipeline cools off a month later, you don't have an event problem. You have a coverage problem.
The follow-through is where the money is actually made.
Exactly. Manpreet detailed how AI tools like 6sense are being used to surface real-time account intent signals post-event.
Okay.
Then that intent data is fed into HubSpot to trigger highly adaptive nurture sequences based on the buyer's actual engagement, not just a rigid time-based drip campaign.
So it's reacting to what the buyer's actually doing.
Right. The key takeaway for you here is that events create the initial acceleration, but AI is what sustains that momentum over the long enterprise sales cycle.
So we've captured the leads with modern tech, and we are multiplying our efforts with AI. But what does this all mean for the budget?
The million-dollar question.
Literally. How are we proving that this actually works to the people holding the purse strings? That brings us to our third theme, the shift from event metrics to revenue metrics.
We are finally moving away from reporting vanity metrics like badge scans or booth traffic.
Thank goodness.
And starting to report actual commercial impact. If you want to secure funding from a modern CFO, you have to speak their language.
Nick Bennett laid out a phenomenal framework for this, didn't he?
He did. His 3-layer event ROI framework does exactly this. It moves the conversation from logistics to economics.
Break down those layers for us.
Sure. Layer 1 is strategic fit. You aren't asking how many people came to the booth. You are asking, were our ideal customer profile or ICP accounts and actual decision makers in the room?
Quality over quantity. Every single time.
Precisely. Layer 2 is execution. This is where teams often fail.
How so?
Well, did we create strict, actionable next steps? And Nick is very specific here. A next step is not, we will follow up next week. A next step is a named, specific action on a calendar within 14 days.
That is a massive distinction.
Huge. And finally, layer 3 is economic impact. This is the hard math. How much net new qualified pipeline did this event generate? And critically, how much existing pipeline did it influence and accelerate toward closed won?
That framework is gold. But, to achieve that execution layer, you have to face what Kayla Drake called the brutal truth of field marketing.
Oh, this was a great post.
If your sales team isn't following up on the 500 badges you scanned, you do not have a post-show alignment problem. You have a pre-show problem.
That is a massive paradigm shift.
It is. Kayla gave incredibly actionable advice on this. You have to establish service level agreements or SLAs with your sales team before the event even starts.
Setting expectations early.
Exactly. What constitutes a qualified lead, and how fast will they call them? But you also have to do the work in the booth.
Right.
You need to pre-vet leads with 3 to 4 specific qualification questions right there on the floor. Don't just scan and smile.
No scanning and smiling.
And crucially, she advises pre-drafting the follow-up sequences in sales engagement tools like Gong or Outreach ahead of time. So the moment the event ends, sales just has to review, hit go, and the outreach begins immediately.
Tamara Machado echoed this exact mindset shift. She argued that we have to stop treating events as isolated logistics projects.
Like worrying about catering and lanyards.
Right, and start designing them fundamentally as revenue engines. Every single decision needs to be mapped back to how it drives revenue.
And part of that revenue engine isn't even happening in the physical room.
What do you mean?
Well, Laura Schultz shared a really provocative take on this. She argued that using LinkedIn during an event is actually a sales activity, not a marketing activity.
Oh, that's interesting. How so?
She points out that the real pipeline isn't just built by scanning badges. It's built by individual reps using their personal profiles to share live market signals from the conference floor.
So they are amplifying the event.
Exactly. They are tagging partners, sharing insights from keynotes, and most importantly, turning the in-person objections they are hearing at the booth into public authority content online. It extends the footprint of the event massively.
Which ties perfectly into John McHugh's concept of event portfolio management.
I love that concept.
He advises treating your entire event strategy as an integrated system that compounds momentum over the year. You don't just do a trade show, then a dinner, then a webinar as isolated one-off habits.
Right.
They need to feed into each other. The insights Laura's sales reps gather at the trade show should dictate the topic of the executive dinner the following month.
It's a cohesive ecosystem. And that ecosystem leads us to our fourth and final theme, which might be the most impactful shift of all: curated experiences over volume.
We are officially looking at the end of the mass attendance era.
We really are. Ashley Nelson made a bold, clear claim about this. She said the most strategic word for event marketers in 2026 is no.
No.
Intentional curation is the new leadership skill. It is about doing significantly less, but with way more purpose.
You have to be willing to turn down a massive Tier 1 trade show sponsorship if it doesn't serve a highly curated purpose.
Cody K. Adams completely agreed with this approach. The data is showing that fewer events mean you can deliver higher intent, much sharper messaging, and ultimately better pipeline.
Less is more.
When you aren't spread thin across 30 events a year, the 5 you do execute are flawless.
Meredith Tradiak shared a wild statistic that really underscores this shift. She noted that 92% of events in 2025 had fewer than 100 participants.
92%, that is staggering.
The micro event is absolutely dominating, but she came with a very strong warning. These small events will live or die based on whether people feel like they actually belong in that room.
It's an exclusivity thing, but also a comfort thing.
Right. It is no longer an attendance problem. It is a community problem. If you put 50 executives in a room and they don't feel a peer-to-peer connection, it's a failure.
So how do you manufacture that sense of belonging? Andre Luck had some phenomenal concrete examples of how top B2B leaders are solving this.
They are completely ditching the standard, tired corporate happy hour, aren't they?
Completely. Nobody wants to stand in a loud bar with a warm white wine and shout over the music anymore.
Especially when buyers are increasingly health conscious and just highly protective of their time.
Exactly. So instead, these teams are leaning into active experiences. Andre mentioned things like taking a group of target accounts on a curated morning hike or organizing competitive pickleball tournaments.
Pickleball is everywhere right now.
It really is. Or hosting intimate mixology classes. When you put people in an active environment, like trying to figure out how to hit a pickleball, it immediately drops the corporate armor.
It humanizes the whole interaction.
You aren't pitching software. You are just two professionals sharing an experience. That builds a vastly deeper connection than a standard networking mixer ever could.
To wrap up this entire shift toward curation, Julius Solaris shared an incredible observation from his global travels.
Yeah.
He noted that the brands capturing the most attention right now aren't necessarily the ones spending the most money. They are the ones spending their money creatively.
It's not about the biggest checkbook anymore.
No, it's about the best idea. He used Anthropic as a prime example. Instead of buying a massive, expensive, traditional 50 by 50 booth on a crowded trade show floor,
Which costs a fortune.
a total fortune, they ran a coffee pop-up. They offered free coffee and paired it with free, quick, tactical sessions on how to actually learn and use their AI tool, Claude. It was low friction, highly valuable, and it generated lines around the block.
They solved a basic human need, caffeine, and tied it directly to product education in a relaxed environment.
Exactly. The lesson here is clear. Meaningful, curated engagement will always beat a massive impersonal footprint.
It really is a completely new playbook. We've gone from scanning everything that moves to engineering data flows, automating the operational grind, holding ourselves to strict CFO-level revenue metrics, and replacing the massive trade show floor with a targeted pickleball game.
It is a lot to process, for sure. But there is one final thought I want to leave you with as you evaluate your own strategy.
Let's hear it.
Johan Lindhoff talked about the concept of ROO, return on objectives. Building on everything we've discussed today, I want you to ask yourself this. If the ultimate goal of an event isn't just to get a badge scan, but to create actual movement, a tangible shift in perception, a change in behavior, or deep alignment with your brand, what specific behavior are you trying to change in your buyers at your very next gathering?
If you enjoyed this episode, new episodes drop every 2 weeks. Also, check out our other editions on account-based marketing, go-to-market, channel marketing, MarTech, social selling, and AI in B2B marketing.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an update. See you next time.